yes, the lectures yesterday. I just got a chance to hear some of them. And Dr. Sangeet Mishra was mentioning about the Kabbalah. I don't know if you saw that, Harinanda Prabhu, but he said that the Kabbalah was a top-down system of thinking, and modern science is a bottom-up or down top. Yeah, bottom to top. Haribol Umadevi
Hare
Ki Jai.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Maharaj. Happy New Year.
Yeah, this is something that Sridhar Maharaj would always tell us also. Live transcription. Can you do this? So Sridhar Maharaj was always telling us this, that Vedic system is from top to down. Sugar Maharaj. Sridhar
$3 free.
Sridhar Maharaj. Sridhar. Can you say Sridhar? That's it. Sridhar Maharaj. And that everything in the Indian conception comes from top to down, top to bottom. And modern science is going from bottom to top.
Is Harinanda getting this in Spanish?
I don't know.
Escribir español?
Prabhu, we see in English text, but I little read, little translate. Pero in English, Spanish no.
Oh, I see.
I question, I write to you WhatsApp in English, Google Traductor, okay?
Sí.
Sorry, no speak English, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Lo siento, no español.
No.
No hablo español.
No habla español, yes.
Lo siento.
So anyhow, a very important point, I thought, that nobody was actually mentioning in the talks that we heard, all of the talks that we heard, nobody really mentioned that very much. But in the idea of purpose, we have to realize that the actual purpose of everything is not coming from us. Sridhar Maharaj used to tell the absolute is by itself and for itself. For itself. That purpose means that everything is for him. Everything is for Krishna. His enjoyment, his pleasure, his satisfaction. So whatever is happening in this universe, or any universe, or anywhere, and any reality, is for that purpose, is for his satisfaction. So when we see something like intelligence being displayed in nature, or even in human nature, whether human nature or nature itself, in all its forms, it seems to us, from our point of view, from the down position, we are the result of Krishna's will, Krishna's purposes. It seems to us that it is our intelligence that is trying to figure things out. But that's not the way it goes. The real thing is coming from Krishna down to us. And it appears to us as our intelligence. But ultimately, on the bottom, on the basis of all that, there is Krishna's will, his purpose, is being fulfilled. We think of it as our activities, of intelligent discrimination or effort. But really underneath that is the real absolute position of his activities that appear to us as our activities. He is doing his thing, manifesting his pastimes. But we are seeing it as our endeavors. We are endeavoring to find him. And it seems like he is doing nothing. We are making the endeavor by our intelligence. That's not the case. Whatever is happening by his will, for his purposes. But from the bottom-up vision, we can't see that. We can't see that. Anyhow, completely different viewpoint from our from the Vedic perspective versus our perspective. The God's eye view and man's eye view. And an interesting question arises from that consideration that what is matter? Well, from that viewpoint, what is matter? From the God's eye view, what is matter? How does Krishna say that? Matter has also got a purpose. Not only the living entity, but matter also has some purpose. Not of its own, but coming from the purpose of the Supreme Lord. So in that viewpoint, everything has a purpose. And we try to distinguish between living and non-living, and that the living has purpose and the non-living doesn't show that purpose. But according to the God's eye view, the living entity and matter both have some purpose in the eye of the Lord. So that distinction between living and non-living doesn't appear to Krishna, because everything is serving his purpose. So in a more ultimate sense, everything is teleological, has a teleological basis. Teleological, not theological. What do you think of that, Maharaj, Shabda Maharaj?
Maharaj, actually, I was reading somewhere in, I think, Life Come From Life book of Srila Prabhupada, that he used to say something very interesting, that God can make matter life and life matter. He can change matter into life and life into matter. So, but we cannot. He was saying something like that. So for him, Maharaj, that possibility of, the purpose of how he wants to use anything is up to him, actually.
I know many devotees feel there's some need to say that matter is also spirit. They don't like the idea that only life is spirit and matter is something else. Of course, so matter and life are both of the same spiritual energy, similar spiritual energy or same spiritual energy. The energy of the Lord, at least. And so that Krishna can do whatever he wants with those, because there are his energies. In our relative perspective, the living entity is superior Bauta Prakriti, according to Sankhya philosophy. But from Krishna's perspective, it's all spiritual. And then the lecture by Govindarajan. Remember his lecture?
Yes.
You say he's a Sri Vaishnava?
He seems to be from his Tilak Maharaj, but how much
Uh,
he's following, I'm not sure, but seems to be Sri Vaishnava from his appearance and the Tilak.
Anyhow, he drew one diagram, that universal consciousness and the eye. Remember that? And around the eye, he had all these different layers, sheaths. Anandamaya Kosh, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, like that. Anandamaya. And then he said, when you remove these coverings, then the eye becomes the universal consciousness, right?
Yes,
Problem?
some Mayavads were there.
Problem with that is right. How, first of all, your question that we ask all these people who say like that how did the universal consciousness become covered by something? How did it become covered? That means the covering is more than the universal. The universal can cover, I'm sorry, if the coverings are there over the universal, then the coverings are more than the universal. How is that possible? More universal than the universal, right?
Yes.
So we have to question, what is the logic of that? Where does that come from? And of course, I don't think Ramanuja ever said anything like that. He was Vishishta Advaita. He was also an Advaitin, but he admitted the energies of the Lord. And when we think in terms of the energies of the Lord, then the living entity is one of those energies, and not the universal self. Sridhara always used to explain that also to us, that we are not part of the personality of God, whereas energy. So we're not the universal self. We're the energy of the universal self. That he didn't get. He didn't get, because he didn't hear from Sridhar Maharaj. He doesn't hear what the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other scriptures say. Not the real Gaudiya Vaishnava conception. So that point has to be mentioned also. If you speak to him, you can say this, that universal self, not covered by anything, can't be. But it's the energy of the Lord that is covered by his other energies. Can be covered and it can be uncovered. But it's not that when we become the universal self, that we lose the individual self. No. The individual is remaining, and the universal is there also. Both the universal and the individual, finite individual, are both there. We are the energy, and he is the energetic source. That's all. So we have a relationship, and that has to be remembered. Not that we have to lose everything to become the universal self. We only have to remember, establish that knowledge, relationship of knowledge and love and proper conception. And then things, that the coverings that are attributed to the individual, they can be removed, and we can see what is our relationship with the universal self. Not that we have to lose or give up the individual self. Anyhow, those points I noticed in his talk and in Dr. Vishnu's talk. And then in, what's the lady's name? Sangeet Menon?
Sangita Menon.
Menon. Now her talk was all about evolution, it seemed to me. You noticed on the top of one of her diagrams, it said the Great Leap, the Great Leap out of Africa to the modern times. And somehow kind of quantum jump occurred. Again, that is the bottom-up approach, bottom-up thinking, that we came from something very lowly, primitive, and then we became very advanced. That's the way the evolutionary thinking tries to see things, explain things. But that can't be correct either. It goes the exact opposite way around. And the more advanced, according to our understanding, Brahma creates the universe within, and all the demigods are there first, and then the degradation occurs. So by being conditioned by the modern education of Darwinian evolution, they come to think like that in that way, from a bottom-up approach. So we have to reverse the whole thinking process to understand Vedic conception, how top-down process is working, and how it appears to us from our perspective not to be like that. I gave the example one time of the book. Remember that example? Res cogitans, no.
Ordo ascendi.
Ordo cognoscendi and ordo ascendi. Ordo cognoscendi and ordo ascendi in Latin. These two terms, ordo cognoscendi and ordo ascendi, means by the method of experience, ordo cognoscendi, by the method by which we come to know something, and then ordo ascendi, by the process by which things come to be themselves, what they are in essence, how they come to be themselves. And the way we come to know things are two different types of knowledge. In a book, if we find a book, let's say some Martians or some alien came from another world, and they studied a book. They found a book and they studied, what is this? They didn't know anything about books. So they saw this book and they said, what is this? So they would look at the book and they find that there's some paper and there's some letters and different marks on the book. And they would think, well, this book came to be by putting some paper and some marks together, and they made this thing. And some meaning is there, and when the from the symbols on the book, some meaning is to be achieved from that. They think that is how the book came about. Some data is there, but we know that the book has to be written by an author first. There has to be an author first, and then the ideas in the author are put down in the are transcribed into the language, and then the language into the letters and so forth. And then the book is produced by those who know how to make books. So there are two different processes, you see. One, from the author's point of view, it's a coming down process from top to bottom. But from the aliens, the ignorance, they think it's a bottom-up process. You have to put paper, then you put some marks and so forth and so on, then you make a book. You understand? So from the level of experience, how we experience things, it seems to come in that way, from bottom up. But from the level of essence of knowing the actual origin of things, we can understand it goes from the top, from the author to the book. Correct? Is it clear? Anyone understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Maharaj.
Huh? Maharaj?
Yes, Maharaj.
It's okay. All right.
I was writing something to Krishna Kesava because the June 2nd day, he it's not converted actually somehow. I recorded it. So I need to log in to, it takes a long time to convert. So I should keep it in convert mode so that it at least starts. Otherwise it takes another 2-3 days.
It takes too long with the conversation, you said?
No, the video that Zoom gives after the recording, if it is too long, like 7 hours, then it takes a long time.
Oh,
Yes, Maharaj, this alien, studying this book is interesting because, if we don't have any idea about that, like we lost in the forest and we are trying to find from that forest how we can get to a particular, geographical location in that big forest, with so much complex thing, then it looks like, only just trial and error method seems to be not going to be very fruitful in that. So
that's another idea, but I'm trying to say the difference between the top down and the bottom up
Yes,
process of knowledge,
yes,
of knowing the difference. So
Maharaj.
Veda is trying to teach us that there's a top-down process going on. And we are examining it from the bottom up. So we think everything is happening from our effort to reach the absolute. But really the absolute is doing everything. And we are participating in that. And so it's a completely different method and a way of thinking that is required. We think it's by our intelligence, or things are acting by their intelligence to accomplish something. Not going on like that at all. The Supreme Absolute Truth is doing his thing, manifesting his pastimes. And we are only to submit to that, to recognize that, and to recognize that we are participants, humble servants in that process, subservient to that process. Then we come to some realization, proper realization of what is what. You had something to say?
About Rishi Raj's video where he called the bottom up approach as discovery, and he didn't specifically talk in terms of top down, but the other approach he called verification, where at least you try to approach the up so you can come down.
Verification.
And then he gave the example of the hacking computer. Either you can try to learn details of somebody and then think about what their possible password could be, all the different kinds, but it takes forever. Or you can just ask someone who knows the password and put the password in.
Okay. Yes, we can, Krishna's activities in this world can be verified. That's like we are digesting our food. Do we know how how to do that. It's happening. And we can say, well, this is going on, that's going on. But do we actually do that when we're digesting food? We don't know how it's going on, but still it's happening without our knowing how it's happening or having to think how it's happening. But we can verify that it is happening. That digestion is occurring. So especially when we don't have proper digestion, then we know that there's some process. In that sense, the truth is already there. We can verify that the truth is there, but we don't have to make or discover truth on our own. Where there's different theories as scientists make. Those theories are not necessary. Try to understand what is being happening, and we can verify that. Just like we say, life comes from life. We can say that, but that is just a verification of what we observe, of what is going on. To say that life comes from matter is a theory. Darwin's theory, this theory, that is not God's idea, original essence. It doesn't express that. It is not verified by our experience that matter produces life. We can't verify that. Then we have to understand we're in the wrong idea, we're in the wrong mentality. We're doing something wrong. Something like that. So all this in Sankhya philosophy, ahankar, buddhi and manas. Ahankar, buddhi and manas. These three are called material. Why? Why do you think they're called material? Shantamar, do you know?
Ahankar Maharaj, you say?
Ahankar, buddhi, and manas are considered material in Sankhya philosophy.
Mhm.
Why?
Yes.
Why are they called material?
Maharaj, actually, it is material because it is, what you can say, engaged in, incorrect identification, or what for it is not engaged there. I mean, mono can be also spiritual if it is, engaged in transcendental activities. Like, it says, Saraswati Thakur told, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told, Moner Khyal Khushi Rakom Bhajaner Abhinayke Bhajan Bhole na, Sadhguru Vaishnaver Anugatya Seva Kore Tader Mon Santushti Kora, Taku Bole Bhajan. Means whatever your mind is saying, doing that is not bhajan, but to please the mind of the Sadhu Guru Vaishnava is bhajan. So we are not pleasing our mind because it is mundane, but we are pleasing the mind of the sadhus, then it is transcendental, because they are also pleasing another sadhu's transcendental mind. In that way, Krishna's mind is there. So, so our mind means we are, engaged in something other than, Krishna's interest. Same thing is applicable to intellect also. I mean, whatever we can know from our capacity, that is Maya actually. But the knowledge which descends, Dibbagyan, Hriday Prakashita, means that that must be transcendental coming from above. And as far as Ahankar is concerned, that is has to do with Krishna's the identity must come from Krishna, not from our side. So Radharo Dasi Jodi Hoy Abhiman Sigraye Milaye Gokulokan. Means if you have ego that you are servant of Radharani, then you will quickly get Krishna. So that ego will not come from us, has to come from some other plane. So these three, if it is from our perspective, then it is mundane, Maharaj.
Yes, that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that by ahankar means I am doing, but I am not the doer. Krishna is the doer.
Yes.
So by considering that I am doing, I am thinking, I am searching, I am intelligent, so many things, then it's all coming from the I am the doer. It's a finite point of view. Then it's material. But from the infinite point of view, it's all coming down through us. Our mind, intelligence, and the ego have their basis in something other than ourself, something higher than ourself. The downward causation. That's called, and that downward causation is also recognized by us as our purpose. Our purpose is to know that downward causation coming from Krishna, and then recognize that, oh, I'm the servant. I'm under the control. I'm not independently trying to go there on my own power. The power is coming to me. And in this way, I am acting through that. And it's a very different understanding than the scientists have. And by scientific inquiry, if we can understand, come to that understanding, then we can recognize, give proper recognition to the transcendental nature of which we are a part. And that kind of thinking, we noticed, was completely missing in most of what, not of course, not in what you said, but in what the others were saying. They don't have that top-down conception properly in their minds, in their hearts. It's very important thing.
Generally, Maharaj, the scholars, the Western scholars, when they talk about mind, they mean it very different than how we understand it.
What do they mean by mind?
For them, mind and soul seems to be same, Maharaj.
I don't think they have any idea what mind is. There's no concept of mind in science. They don't even know what to say, what to call it, or what it is.
Descartes definitely did like that. He was very explicit in his meditations about mind and soul being interchangeable.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But then he did say that the seat of the soul is the mind, something. And then he's further said it was the pineal gland in the brain. He said like that.
Okay. So yes, their idea of mind is the thinking, but their idea of thinking is that it's the brain, the activity of the brain, the neurons. Neurons are doing something, and then thinking is coming from that. So how that thinking is coming, they don't tell. They won't tell us. But the idea is that the brain is doing some activity, neurons are firing, some electricity is there, and therefrom that thinking is coming. Although they don't explain that great leap from the neurons.
There is identity theory, Maharaj. Identity theory.
Okay.
Like what you can say. Liver secretes bile, similarly, brain secretes thoughts.
It's the brain's urination.
One thing I think is relevant to what is being said here is that one of the speakers was mentioning how there seems to be correlations between the brain stimulation and certain thoughts, where certain thoughts repetitively correlate to the same kind of stimulation when they read the brain. And then the scientists think that means that the brain is doing the thinking, but then the speaker more I think nicely pointed out that, well, there is definitely a relationship between the thing and its shadow, or a picture of the thing and the thing itself. I think that's what they said. A picture of the thing and the thing itself. There's a relation, of course. The picture is of the real thing. So that's the relation. However, it doesn't go beyond that. So they were just trying to illustrate like maybe a symbolic relationship of the brain and mind. It wasn't so clear beyond that what they were saying, but they were trying to just justify the fact that the mind isn't the brain, yet somehow the data that they were referring to shows behavior consistent with certain kind of thinking patterns.
Yes, no, that doesn't explain. Correlation doesn't explain anything. I sometimes give the example. When the moon dog eats the sun god during the eclipse, solar eclipse, they beat the gong. Beat a gong to make the dog run away from eating the sun. And when they do it, it works. So they correlate the beating of the gong with the movement of the moon. Just like, if you make some loud noise for a dog, he will run away.
I think you have to mute Krishna Kesava Prabhu one because echo is coming both.
If you make some noise, a dog will run away. So if you make some noise, then the moon dog will run away from eating the sun god. And when they do that, it works. They correlate the noise with chasing the dog with the movement of the moon across the sun, across the face of the sun. So correlation doesn't work. It may work, but it doesn't explain anything. The sound that you make with the gong had nothing to do with the movement of the moon. But by making a correlation with them, we think they are connected. So the scientists do that too. They say, well, when we put the electrodes on your head, on your scalp, this electrical signal is present at a certain point. And a certain a pattern of electrical activity occurs on the brain, on the brain surface, let's say. Certain pattern occurs. And when that pattern occurs, we know that the person is very angry. So therefore, this pattern corresponds to anger. Say, when the brain gets into this pattern, we know that person is angry. Right? So,
Maharaj, there is some problem with that. They found out that same pattern they observe, to different, very different subjective, states.
yes.
Means anger also, maybe that pattern will be there, and maybe some other, state also that pattern will be there. So which one that represent? So that is a problem they face.
And on different brains, you may have different patterns may be there when they are angry. Then And then one patient may show us one pattern in one area of the brain, another patient will show a pattern in another area of the brain. So anyhow, that kind of correlational science doesn't explain how the pattern produced anger. Their assumption is that there's a pattern in your brain, then anger somehow is produced. Well, what is that process? And to explain the process by which a pattern of electrons or a pattern of neurons produces a certain feeling of anger, or whatever feeling, love, hate, enviousness, compassion, whatever feeling is produced. Can we explain that in terms of those patterns? No, there's no scientific explanation of how a particular pattern can produce a particular feeling. Because electrons don't have any feelings. Electricity doesn't have any feelings. So then where's the feeling coming from? So then I think one of the scientists, he was arguing about reductionism on the first day, you remember? He was saying reductionism, he thought it was really correlation. Reductionism, a form of correlation. That's not the fact. Reductionism and correlation are not the same thing. When you reduce something to atoms, the atomic movements do not correlate with anything in the organic field. It's not a matter of correlation, it's a matter of reframing, refocusing. I don't know how to say that, but it's reconfiguring the whole problem from a continuity of organic systems to the particularity and discontinuity of atomic activity. So I can see how that can be a correlation. Perhaps they say that organic activity is correlated with atomic activity, but I think it's more of there's a difference. When I said correlation with the moon dog and the sun god, that's a correlation. But when you say organic activity is correlated with atomic activity, it's not so clear what type of correlation is involved there. I would call that a reduction. So I don't think we should mix up these two terms, reductionism and correlationism. They're not the same thing.
Maharaja.
Yes.
So to maybe try to understand clearer, in a case where reductionism does work for mechanical systems, so we have each part of a car and we understand how it works, and then we put it together so that the car as a whole functions. It's not that each of the functions of the part correlates to something in the whole. You're saying that the parts working as a system together produce an effect. That's not, like you're saying, that's not correlation. That's just a causal explanation of the whole. And we're saying that that causal explanation of the whole does not apply to organic organisms. So there's nothing symbolic about the parts of a car and the car as a whole. It's just a causal explanation.
A mechanical explanation. Yeah. Trying to reduce the organic to a mechanical explanation, which is the correlation doesn't exist between the mechanical and the organic. What is the difference between the mechanical and the organic? Mechanical works according to cause and effect, but the organic has purpose as its motivating principle, has intrinsic purpose as its motivator, whereas the mechanical has the matter outside itself as pushing itself into action. The action of mechanical system is based on the impulse from the outside of itself, whereas the organic has the impulse from within itself. And that's called purpose. The purpose of a mechanical system is outside of the system, coming from the person who made them, the mechanism, the machine. But for the organic, the purpose is within it. It doesn't need an outside purpose to make it act. Anyhow, these are some of the different observations that I made after hearing the recordings and of the talks, of the different talks. Is it still very cold there in Spain, Ariananda Prabhu?
In Spanish, it's cool, Maharaja, but we had in home calefacción.
Heater.
¿A dónde está la calefacción allí? Para que la vea el Maharaja.
They have the heater.
I see, yes. No, I see you have your hat. Your hat.
Sí,
on.
no.
Hace frío.
Sí.
They have a heater.
I see, okay. Yeah, you have a heater. Does anyone have any? Oh, Anapriya Didi, Haribol, Happy New Year.
Dhanavat pranams, Maharaj. Happy New Year.
It's
So lovely to see you. I didn't want to interrupt. Sorry,
okay.
Maharaj.
Okay. Anyone have any comment or question? What did you think of the whole conference? Those who came?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Some good debates. It was a little quite, different language that I'm used to. Very scientific on computer things. But I thought it was interesting. I find Brian Ford interesting character, and I like his studies of cells and his passion for cells and their intelligence. So yeah, I mean, I really need to listen again to I feel I need to really listen to all the lectures again, especially day 2. I would like to listen to those a bit more. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, Maharaj. It was a good full 2 days. So much information, really. So
Too much information, I think.
a bit, very much for me. That's why I'd have to sort of really, for my small brain.
I thought it was very intense also. I was listening to the recordings and I thought, oh my goodness, very intense,
Yeah.
over flooding. Huh?
Yeah, and I think so, some presentations they're trying to put so much in, and it's digesting it all. But yeah, no, it was good. I liked Krishna Kesava's talk and your talk, Maharaj, and Muni Maharaj and Shanta Maharaj did lovely presentations. And Sumangala did also. I want to listen again to her one. It's good. It's really nice to see other people's perspectives. I think that's the other thing as well. It's interesting to see, where people are consciously.
Give them a chance to talk. Huh?
Yeah.
Together this way. Hopefully they can also hear each other, what they are saying, and especially the devotees. Our hope is that you can invite them to come and speak their minds, but hopefully they can also hear what we are saying, and that way some different ideas may come into them.
Yeah, it's a good platform.
Yes. Did you speak anything?
No, Maharaj.
You didn't? Okay.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
I'm working with actually Linda. We're working on something together, but basically based on maybe more from an artistic point of view. So it will take a while with other things. We've had lots of other things to do in between, but we're trying to work on a presentation. When we
can work with Joan Walton in UK to organize one small meet, and she has many interesting contacts, and we can have some online event similar to this, because we could not much discuss about topics more details, and we were also a little busy with other things, but I think we can have some more sessions on this, and more clear ideas can be brought out.
Yes, Maharaj, it gave me lots of inspiration, listening to the talks. I just have to finish the website here and things, and then hopefully we'll work with. I know Linda's been doing some work also, so together hopefully we'll put something together nicely. We can show you first, see what you think.
Do you know Joan Walton?
I think she was in the meeting. We had one meeting. She's in north of England somewhere, if I'm correct.
Yes.
She's a nice lady. She seemed a very nice lady. Yeah, it would be nice to do something.
Yes, she has many contacts and good friends.
Yes.
And you can contact her, and she may like to participate some of things you do there, and some events can be organized with her.
Yes, Maurice. Yes, that's a good idea. Well, okay.
She likes devotees, but also she has some. She wants to experience. Always she talks about experience. Some personal experiences.
Maharaj, didn't John Walton meet with Mahayogi Maharaj?
She came to his flat when we first went to UK.
So is Linda this person who is behind the picture? Is that who you're working with? Okay.
Yes. Okay. She's actually, I think, studied chemistry. Is that right, Linda? She has family. She's with family, so I think she's just messaging. She has lots of grandchildren. But yeah, she's done art degree, and she's also, I think, chemistry, if I'm right. I think she's a scientist.
She's a professor. Professor John Walton is a professor in York University, right?
Yes, I think that's
York St. John.
Okay.
So, Therese, it's nice that you have joined us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
How are you feeling?
You look like you're in the Himalayas.
This picture is gorgeous. I just, I look for nice backgrounds, and it's winter time, although we have no snow, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Linda has a Ph.D. in chemistry.
Okay.
and postgraduate in arts.
Anyhow, the
Hariananda, do you know Nitai Chand? Nitai Chand from London? Hariananda? Nitai Chand.
Nitai Chan. No, I don't know. Nitai Chan que Prabhu.
Nitai Chand Prabhu.
No, I don't know.
Maybe he can help in translating Spanish to English to Spanish or Spanish to English, but he is a little busy, but he told that he can sometime help.
This week call me London. Yo no speaking. Yo no number. I don't know. Entonces I don't know. Pero en London call me. Pero yo no. People no speaking.
Not speaking. Okay. You are not speaking. They called you and not speaking. Okay.
he's
Maharaj,
not picking up.
I question commentary the experience this week with you. I sent to commentary to Keshava Prabhu about que en WhatsApp Keshava Prabhu. Please.
There's a question.
He sent some question.
Yes.
You want to read it?
Yes, he wants me to read it.
Okay, Krishna Keshava is going to read the questions that Hariananda sent to him via WhatsApp. So he's going to ask this question. He's going to read those questions now. Yeah.
He said, Maharaja, I want to comment on an incredible experience we had in past days. We were watching Srila Bhakti Nishkam Shanta Maharaj in videos.
Prabhu,
And
can
suddenly
you mute? One you mute. Both sound is coming.
Maharaj, I wanted to comment on an incredible experience we had. In the past days, we were watching Srila Bhakti Nishkam Shanta Maharaj in videos, and suddenly his face transformed into Srila Acharya Dev's face. I kept quiet and didn't say anything to my family because I do not want them to think I'm crazy. But after several days, Anandita Didi told me, Hariananda was watching a video of the Maharaj and his face turned into Srila Acharya Dev's, and she was asking me how that is possible. And then I stayed amazed because it had happened to me days before, and I had not commented anything to anyone. How is it possible?
He had a video of Acharya Maharaj. He kept flashing it in the screen.
Facebook makes those videos.
Premanjana.
Facebook video de Maharaja y Maharaja en activity y one moment face Maharaja y Acharya de yo, ¿qué Acharya de? ¿Cómo? Mira bien, y sí, y face Maharaja, only one little moment, pero my family crazy. No speaking on my family, pero Anindita other day tell me, Hariananda, sí, Maharaja face en Srila Acharya de Anindita también. You transformer face de Shanta Maharaj en Srila Acharya de. Increíble. Yo quedé increíble.
Jai, Srila Acharya Maharaja ki jai. Srila Santa Maharaja ki jai.
Jai,
Aye.
Srila Sripad Haryananda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki
Yeah.
jai.
Jai.
Evil.
Ananda gone out on Sankirtan today, Spain. Harinam.
In the street no Sankirtan because very COVID. Person need passport meeting, passport COVID. No meeting. People passport being in Spain is a difficult meeting today. ¿Sí? Dale, llévate la cocina. Dame. Sorry.
What happened to dog? Lakshmi, is okay?
Sí, yeah.
Coffee.
Maharaj, in India, COVID is increasing again.
Yes, here also, we have to cancel our functions, I think this month, of meeting people also, feeding people, because COVID is very high. It's actually higher now than even with the Delta virus variant. So
But people are not dying, no, Maharaj. Anything happening? If they get COVID?
yes, that's a little lower. The death rate is a little lower, but it's also very difficult because people have to go to the hospital, and the hospitals are overcrowded, and some people aren't able even to get in. Anyhow, it creates a big problem. So, and it's also very contagious. This Omicron, what do they call it?
Omicron.
Omicron. It's very, very contagious. So we're trying to avoid getting too much contact with others. And let's see what happens after this month, hopefully. To be under more control. They found even the vaccinated people are still getting the Omicron variant. So anyhow, we could wait a little while before we continue with our services to the public.
I have received my second vaccine on 27th, but I not feel anything this time.
Okay, that's good. Oh, you still have to get a booster.
All
They're
family.
not yet giving in India.
They're not giving?
No.
Maharaj, all family 20 January 23 vacuna. Sí, January 20.
January 20th?
They all got the third shot,
They all got.
the third one.
They will.
Yes. 19 days from now.
Okay. Anyhow, let's see. Whatever Krishna wills. Anyhow, we like
Ingoji liked my post after a long time.
who's that?
Ingoji.
Oh, Inga.
He watches, he watches, he looks at your stuff. He looks at your online. Mhm.
He likes to come to India. He will like to come.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Maybe one day.
Yes, he can play mridanga here.
Are you planning to come to the United States maybe this year?
We were
sometime?
planning we were planning, right at that time, COVID came. I got my visa, 10 years visa, then COVID came.
Yeah. It would be good to see you in
So,
person again when things
let's
get
see,
better.
after Gaur Purnima, maybe we can plan to come to UK. So then we can plan to come to USA. Let's see how the situation goes in India, also the temple situation and all these things. So many
Yes.
things are happening together.
Yes, a lot of things, good things for you. Congratulations. I was very happy to hear the news. Mhm.
So every time situation changes, this comes, that comes like that. So we don't know when what comes up.
So the next big festival there will be for Gaur Purnima.
Yes, Maharaj.
What date is it?
It is starts on March 11.
Okay. March 11.
Is there any plan,
Gaur Purnima is on 18th.
Maharaj, is there any plan for a new calendar for after Gaur Purnima?
Yes, yes, I'm working with Tyagi Maharaj. Let's see if it comes out. He asked me for some information, so I tried to get that, and I will get that. I will send it to him, and he will send it, and we will try to print.
Is he staying with Sripad Tirtha Maharaj in Vrindavan still?
I think he stays in an institute there.
We saw one video during Kartik. He was at the temple with Tirtha Maharaj.
Mhm.
He came there to give a talk, but he don't live there.
I heard he was living there in
Really?
Radhakund, near Radhakund. Yeah, I have one friend who lives in Govardhan. He saw him.
Yeah, but he's not
Um,
living in Tirtha Maharaj temple though. Tirtha Maharaj has a temple
yeah, I
there.
don't know. He just said he asked him where he was staying, and he said, "Oh, he's staying in Radhakund." I don't know where, but maybe he was just passing through. I don't know.
Hmm.
He stays in the Jiva Institute, Maharaj? I'm not
That's what
sure.
he told me. That's what he told me. They have some natural farming and this and that, so many things he was telling. And I think he has done that very strict observation of Chaturmasya.
He did not want to come to talk? in the
No, he
conference?
told that he wants to, bhajan, give more focus on bhajan.
Focus
So-
on bhajan. Okay.
I invited him. He told that he trying to meditate on bhajan.
And our other friend in Bangalore, did you invite him also?
Oh, Rishiraj, yes, I have, I think, invited a past, but this time I'm not invited because, I'm not sure if I, may hurt him if I invite, and he may feel that, we may be, he thinks that we may be using him by inviting him to the conference. I will feel awkward, what to do.
Anyone have anything else they want to say on the new year or about the conference?
Maharaj, lunar, the solar calendar, your appearance day is today, no, Maharaj?
On the solar calendar. Yes, I have 2 birthdays this year.
Happy birthday, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Did you receive the flower from Krishna Kesava Prabhu Maharaj?
It's very
Hare
strange.
Krishna.
Yes, they came. Show them the flower. They came yesterday, and he said he sent something different. But
Ajay.
they sent something different.
Beautiful.
And it went to one of our neighbors. One of our neighbors received it. And my neighbor brought it over yesterday to me. So some confusion. They didn't send the proper flowers. He ordered a different type. And also it went to a different person. And it came on a different day than he asked. So, I know.
But it all worked out in the end.
It all worked. We got it finally somehow.
It'll work
Did
out.
they say you Hare Krishna Maharaj?
Does it say?
Did they say you Hare Krishna?
Does it say Hare Krishna?
No, the person who was supposed to deliver it today was supposed to hand it to you and say Hare Krishna,
Oh,
but they
that's why they made it so difficult. It was too shy. It was too shy to say that, I think. Yeah.
You are getting booster, Krishna Kesava Prabhu?
not yet. Maybe in future.
It's difficult because when I say that you should get a booster, but it only lasts for 10 weeks. Then effective only for 10 weeks.
No.
Then what does that mean? After 10 weeks, you have to get another
No.
booster.
No, that's not what I heard. I thought this was, they say to get the booster 6 months after your second shot. And I thought it should last at least 6 months.
That's what you
That's what
thought.
That's
But
what I thought.
they said 10 weeks. That's what I heard from the news. Anyhow, they're not giving us the complete story, I think. They're trying the best to keep things in control. But I feel that somehow things are not so much in control as they would like. And we may have to deal with all this for some time yet. It doesn't even seem people are becoming immune, building up an immunity to it.
It keeps changing.
Yes.
That's the problem. I mean, it keeps adapting and yeah.
But doesn't the decrease in death that's significant to some degree, no?
It does seem that way.
Mm-hmm. They say the Omicron, I was reading up on that the people who have had their shots, it's affecting them as if it was a cold.
Uh-huh.
And then people that don't have their shots, it's affecting them differently, where they could be hospitalized.
Anyhow, I hear so many conflicting reports. So I'm not going to make any final decision on that yet. We'll have to wait and see. Pray that we'll all be okay. And let's see, I don't know what Krishna's plan is, but seems very disorienting these days. The weather also, climate change, everything is going into a chaotic condition. Interesting times.
Just yesterday, we had one speaker who was fully vaccinated and had the COVID and was pretty sick, right?
Oh, yes, Brian.
And also Kanika, the website designer, her whole family has it.
Okay. Anyhow, we have
Do
to
you know
be careful.
Lakshmi Narasimha Didi from Mexico?
I don't know.
She had, her whole family got infected by COVID. She and Madhu Gopal from Mexico always join in our sanghas. Sometimes they sometimes come.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes, we recently talked with that Madhu Gopal, right?
I
That the one?
think yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Anyhow, it's something new for people. People have been getting sick and there have been many viruses in the past, flu and so forth. So it's not new that many people are getting sick like this, but it's just a new variant, a new disease for most people. We're not quite sure how to handle it. Let us see what the new year brings. 2020.
If it becomes too much increase in India, then again lockdown will be imposed. Already lockdown is imposed in night.
Okay.
They are making some precautionary measures already.
Will that affect your village preaching, Maharaj?
I think so.
You're going at night for the
More.
program?
I mean, not night, but it will create some fear with people to organize some programs like that.
Maharaj, are more people coming to the temple, local people from your
Yes, they
preaching? Are
come.
they coming?
They come and we go also some preaching like that. Today, like more than 100 people came for the program, and we distributed some prasadam to them, khichdi, haludam, and parmanna to all these people.
But Gorabda, actually, so Gor Purnima is New Year Eve for Gorabda. So New Year's is 3 months away.
3 months?
3 months, 11 days, right?
Yeah,
You said
2 months,
March
yeah.
11th.
2.5 months.
So maybe we should, for the new year, we should just chant the Vandana prayers to welcome an auspicious new year. Hmm.
Sure.
Page, let's see, you have to show it. Like 38. I Vandeham
Sri
Sri
Guru
Guru Sri Yuta
Devata
Kamalam Sri Guru
Vaishnavamscha
Sri
Rupam
Rupam
Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunata
Vitam
Vitam
Sajivam
Sajivam Sadvaitam
Sarvaitam
Savadutam Parijana
Parijana
Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam
Sri
Sri
Radha
Radha Krishna
Radha
Padananda
Sahakananda
Lalita Sri
Sri
Sakantam
Rashakanantamscha
Om
Jnana-gyanantimirandasya
Jnana
Niranjana
Shalakaya
Chakshuram
Chakshurumilitam
Militam
Yena
Yena
Tasmai
Sri
Tasmai
Gurave
Gurave
Namaha
Namaha
Puja Sri
Pujya
Guru
Sri Guru
Bhagavata
Mahaparam
Mahapalammitaya Sada
Bhagavata Paccha
Salita
Prabhupada Bhaktir
Prabhupada
Nirmala
Bhakti
Nidhasya Bhavantam
Vishtam
Samraksaram
Samrakshakam Sridharam
Vande
Vande Shri
Guru
Gurudevam
Vande
Shri
Shri
Vajam
Gurudevam
Jani
Acharya Vayanijam Gaurva
Guru
Bhishtam
Bhashta
Bhavishtasapakam
Sarpurvakam Guru
Gurugameta
Padayascha
Gurunaya
Shishtam
Sambhushitam
Bhushitam
Lachinta
Sajita
Nitya
Samastakam
Chitya
Satyam
Saraswati
Shri
Kripam
Prabhavantu
Tamaham
Arindam
Govinda
Ujvala
Vidamujjalam
Govinda
Kanam
Bhaktangritam
Vidamujjvalam
Sundaram
Vande
Bhagavatam
Vishwadam
Vande
Chadevatam Brahmane
Vishwadevatam
Prijapradam
Bhagavandohi Vijapratam Devam
Devam
Divyatam
Divyatam
Suchalam Vartam
Balarkachalam
Chetam
Chitam
Chandrapuram Shri
Chandranandapuram Shri Kaparidam Vairagya
Shri
Vidyam
Saraswati
Sridham
Bhakti
Nidim
Saraswati
Subhakti Lasadam
Vande
Saraswatanamaram
Tam Shubhatam
Vanditam Subhadam
Rekasharanam
Madhikasaranam
Vishwaram
Vasisharam Sridharam
Vande Tam Shubhadam Vande Krishnam Yashishwaram Sridharam Shri Siddhanta
Siddhanta Saraswati
Saraswati
Devitito
Srito
Gaudiya
Gauriya
Gaurandade
Ato Banari
Bhavane Kirtana
Yoga
Mayavata
Sankirtan
Trimilingodara
Yavara
Katanam
Trivinodara
Krishna
Mudritam
Prema
Nama
Suradhiram
Shivatika
Krishna
Bhattamaram
Prema
Hanamshikam Prabham
Suradhikam
Tambade
Param Tambade Namo Gaur
Kishoraya
Kishoraya
Bhaktavaduttamurde
Bhaktadhuta Mudare
Gaurangli
Tapavai
Vande
Shevane
Padmanabhaya
Radha
Radhabhava
Sevane Vande
Vande
Bhakti
Bhakti Vinodam Shri
Vinodam
Gaurasha
Gaura Sakti
Rupakam
Swarupatam Bhakti
Shashkana
Shastra
Samritam
Samratam
Radharasa
Radhasa
Sadanidam
Sadanidhim
Guru Tasya Shashaya Vaishnava Vande Vishnu Tata Prabham Vande
Jagannath
Vishnavam
Premanande Vaishnavam
Vanshaka
Vanchaka
Patrubhyascha
Patrubhyascha
Kripa
Kripa
Sindhu
Sindhubevacha
Patitanam
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namo
Namaha
Panchatattvaatmakam
Tatvatmakam
Krishnam
Krishnam
Bhaktarup Sarupakam
Bhaktavatarupam
Bhaktavatam Bhaktatakyam Namami
Namami
Paramahansatam
Paramahansatam
Namo
Namo
Mahagadana Krishna
Mahagadanaya
Prempadaye
Prema Pradaya
Krishna Chaitanya
Krishnaya
Gaura
Krishna
Keshvahe
Chaitanya
Namo
Namne
Gaurase
Gauranga
Namo
Jayatam
Jatam
Jayatam
Surato
Surato
Gamamamam
Gamam Devaki
Vatsaravatam
Vatsarvasya Bhagavam
Radhamatanamo
Adhamadhanamo
Vrindaya
Madhava Srimanada Siddhasanasho
Nathado
Shilandarva
Shipranavasilago
Silasundaram
Krishtalape
Shri
Sarvamanushmarami
Sriman
Shriman
Rasarasam
Rasarasam Devam
Sivata
Sevata Karsham Nishtam Kopi Guptata Shrieshtuna Vrindavan Tulasi Gopai Shavasha Charita Gauri Satavatai Namo Namaha
Namo Namaha
Jai Sapati
Shabhagi Shishika Gauranga Granha Govinda Sundar
Sundar
Bhaktaman Jayastu
Jayastu
Shri Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gaura Bhakta
Srivasadi
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama Rama Hare
Rama
Hare
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Charidev, Srila Shanta Maharaja ki Jai.
Jai
Jai Srila Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai
Jai Hari Ananda Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai
Ananditya and Priyatama, Bhagavati and Priya Darshani ki Jai.
Jai.
Priya Devi ki Jai. Jai Krishna Keshava Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai
Teresa ki Jai.
Jai
So Premanandi
Hari
Samaveta
Hari Bo
Bhakti ki
Haribo.
Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai.
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवार जगत गुरु श्रील भक्ति माधव पुरी महाराज की
Ki
जय।
Jai
His holy appearance day की जय।
Jai
You all have a wonderful New Year, Krishna, New Year of Krishna consciousness, and all stay healthy and happy. I don't know.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dhanyavad Pranam.